Imagine you're living 30,000 years ago. Night is falling. The temperature is dropping. In front of you stands a huge cave. Dark. Dry. Protected from the rain. It looks like the perfect place to sleep. So, why didn't your ancestors simply walk inside? Movies have taught us that prehistoric humans lived in caves. Cartoons show families gathered around campfires deep underground. It seems obvious. But archaeology tells a very different story. For thousands of years, many ancient humans avoided sleeping deep inside caves whenever they could. Not because they feared the darkness, but because something else was already living there. And entering the wrong cave could be the last decision you'd ever make. If you were an ancient human searching for shelter, a cave would seem like a dream. It protected you from rain. It blocked cold winds. Its thick stone walls stayed cool during hot summers and warmer during freezing winters. To us, it sounds like the perfect prehistoric home. But nature rarely gives away safe places for free. Long before humans ever entered many caves, animals had already claimed them. Some of the largest predators of the Ice Age used caves as permanent homes. Cave bears, cave lions, hyenas, leopards, even wolves sometimes sheltered inside them. To these animals, the cave wasn't an empty building. It was their territory. Imagine walking into a stranger's house today. Now imagine that stranger weighs over 1,000 kilograms, has claws longer than your fingers, and hasn't eaten for days. That's what entering the wrong cave could be like. Archaeologists have discovered the bones of cave bears in hundreds of caves across Europe. In many places, bear skeletons are actually more common than human remains. That tells us something important. The cave belonged to them first. Humans were simply visitors. Some caves even contain scratch marks high on the walls. Massive claw marks left by bears standing upright. Some reach nearly 3 meters above the ground. Just seeing those marks would have been enough to convince anyone. This was not a safe place to spend the night. But large predators weren't the only problem. Caves created another invisible danger: darkness. Unlike modern humans, ancient people had no flashlights, no electric lights. Even maintaining a fire inside a cave was difficult. Deep caves swallowed light. A burning torch only illuminated a short distance. Beyond that, anything could be waiting. A loose rock, a hidden pit, a dangerous animal, or nothing at all. The uncertainty itself was terrifying. And then there was the air. Deep inside caves, smoke from campfires didn't always escape easily. Without proper airflow, smoke collected near the ceiling before slowly filling the chamber. Breathing became harder. Eyes burned. Children and older people suffered first. Today we understand ventilation. Ancient humans learned through experience. Some caves simply weren't healthy places to sleep. That's why many archaeological sites show something surprising. Instead of living deep inside caves, people often stayed near the entrance, or outside altogether. The cave became a temporary shelter, not a permanent home. The entrance offered sunlight, fresh air, a quick escape if danger appeared. It also allowed people to see approaching predators before it was too late. Deep inside the cave, you couldn't even see the sunrise. You couldn't watch your surroundings. You became trapped. And for prehistoric humans, being trapped was one of the most dangerous situations imaginable. Then came another problem: sound. Inside a cave, every noise echoed. A falling pebble sounded larger than it really was. Animal footsteps became impossible to locate. The echo confused both hunters and prey. Imagine trying to sleep, hearing strange sounds all night, without knowing where they came from. Would you sleep peacefully? Probably not. Our ancestors likely didn't either. Modern archaeologists now believe that many prehistoric people were surprisingly adaptable. Instead of depending only on caves, they built simple shelters using wood, animal hides, branches, and mammoth bones. These homes weren't as strong as stone, but they offered something caves often couldn't: Control. If danger approached, you could leave immediately. If smoke became unbearable, you simply moved. If food sources changed, your home moved with you. Mobility became one of humanity's greatest survival advantages. Perhaps that's why our ancestors eventually conquered environments far beyond caves. From frozen tundras, to deserts, to tropical forests, humans didn't survive because they found the perfect shelter. They survived because they learned. No shelter is worth your life. And sometimes, the safest place to sleep wasn't inside the cave at all. So, if ancient humans didn't spend most of their nights deep inside caves, where did they actually sleep? The answer surprised archaeologists. Across Europe, Asia, and Africa, researchers have uncovered the remains of ancient camps far away from caves. Some were built beside rivers. Others stood on open grasslands. Many were placed near forests where food, fresh water, and firewood were always within reach. Instead of hiding underground, our ancestors often chose to sleep beneath the open sky. Of course, they weren't lying exposed on the ground. Over thousands of years, humans became incredibly creative builders. They constructed simple shelters using wooden poles, flexible branches, animal hides, and thick layers of grass. In colder regions, mammoth bones formed the frames of surprisingly sophisticated homes. Some of these structures were large enough for entire families. Unlike caves, these shelters could be built almost anywhere. And if food disappeared, or predators became too dangerous, the entire camp could be abandoned within hours. Mobility became one of humanity's greatest strengths. Rather than depending on one permanent home, humans learned to carry their lives with them. That single ability allowed our ancestors to spread across nearly every continent on Earth. Fire also changed everything. Many people imagine prehistoric humans hiding inside caves around a campfire. But in reality, fire worked best in open spaces. Smoke drifted away naturally. People could cook, stay warm, repair tools, tell stories, and watch for danger all at the same time. Around the fire, everyone could see one another. Children stayed close. Hunters prepared for tomorrow. Elders passed down knowledge that no written book could preserve. The campfire became more than a source of heat. It became the center of human society. Meanwhile, deep caves remained dark, damp, and unpredictable. Even if no predators were present, another danger always remained: rockfalls. Over thousands of years, water slowly weakened cave ceilings. Small cracks grew larger. Heavy stones occasionally collapsed without warning. Ancient people had no geological knowledge. But they understood one thing: if a place repeatedly injured or killed people, avoid it. Experience became their greatest teacher. Some caves were still used. Archaeologists have discovered fireplaces, stone tools, and paintings inside famous caves such as Lascaux and Chauvet. But evidence suggests these remarkable places were often visited for specific purposes. Temporary shelter, creating artwork, seasonal hunting camps, or perhaps ceremonies whose meanings have long been forgotten. They were not always permanent homes. This completely changes the image many of us grew up believing. Hollywood often shows entire prehistoric families living deep inside caves year after year. It's an unforgettable picture. But real human history was far more dynamic. Our ancestors were travelers, builders, explorers. They adapted to changing landscapes instead of remaining trapped inside stone walls. That flexibility became one of the greatest survival advantages any species has ever developed. Perhaps that's why Homo sapiens eventually outlived many other human relatives. Not because we were the strongest. Not because we had the biggest teeth. Or the sharpest claws. But because we learned to change when the world changed. We built homes where none existed. We left dangerous places behind. And we refused to depend on a single shelter. So, did ancient humans sleep inside caves? Yes. Sometimes. But the deeper truth is even more fascinating. They didn't survive because caves protected them. They survived because they knew when to use them. And when to walk away. The next time you watch a movie showing prehistoric families living happily deep inside a cave, remember this. That cave may have looked like home. But to your ancestors, it could just as easily have belonged to a bear. Or a lion. Or something waiting silently in the darkness. And perhaps the greatest lesson they ever learned was this. The safest shelter isn't always the strongest one. It's the one that gives you the best chance to see tomorrow.